Welcome back to the Dry Fire Journal. This is day 313, and I have a fully cleared P30L. There's nothing in this chamber. There's nothing in the magazine well, and I'm having to go pretty quick today just because of life. I took 2 days off of family and work and went and took a 2-day class with John Johnston, with the incredible assistance of Melody Lauer, called Test and Standards in Burlington, Washington. And it really made me think quite a bit about my presentation, The Target. And I want to invite you today to think through this with me. Because of the camera angle, I can't go from the holster and show you the whole thing. So we're just going to assume that you have drawn and your hands have met. And there are 3 primary ways to present the fire on the target. I'm going to try to blade my body so you can see the angle. The first is kind of an escalator motion. And the escalator can look like a straight line that just kind of raises up. What it winds up looking like at speed for most people, even though they don't realize it, is this: out and up. Like and then up. That's option 1. Option 2, presenting close to your body, muzzle high so that as it drops and as your pinkies engage, it falls right onto target. It looks something like this, or something like this. The third way is one I had never tried, although I had seen several people do it, and really watched a really good friend of mine do this a bunch, and that was have hands meet and bring it up in your eyesight here and start driving it out. And so now you're thinking about drawing the gun up and finding your dot closer to your eyes, which actually enables you, because you're close to your body, to grip the gun well and be able to start firing here if you need to. Start firing here if you're able to. It's really something to play with. And by play with, I mean work on. But when I say work on, I mean play with. Let me explain what I mean by that. When you're working on stuff, make sure to have some fun with it. And play. And see what happens. Just play. Try all 3 of these. And here's my biggest challenge. If you're still watching this, here's my challenge. Video yourself, put it on slow-mo, and find out what you're actually doing. Not what you think you're doing, not what you believe that you're doing, not what you feel, but what you're actually doing. And I think you might find some surprising things about your presentation, The Target, that you can clean up. You know why? Me too. Me too. Also, if you're still watching this, for 2 days, we put probably 7, maybe 800 rounds downrange. I don't really know. I brought loose ammo. I didn't keep track. I used this P30L and discovered how much I wanted Alice, my Mark 23, how much I wanted my SIG. And I did my best to do away with all of the emotional stuff and just ran the gun and just realized that I like this gun. There's nothing wrong with this gun. It's actually pretty amazing. But for my particular hand shape, I am slower to present this gun, The Target. And I knew that. I was able to objectively know that. For 2 days in class. So, something to consider if you have the luxury of having multiple guns that you can carry and that you've trained with. Try to ask yourself, which one really, really, really works for me? Here's what that practically means for me. I'm just talking out loud now. Practically, I have the most number of magazines for this gun. That's why I brought it to class. I have a Sig Sauer P226 that has a Romeo 1 red dot on it. And I keep having failures with it. And by failures, I mean I keep having to change the battery about once a week. I consider that failure. Or I could just choose to be more disciplined and spend the money and go through batteries. And then I have my Mark 23, which has never failed me. The red dot's never not worked. Well, I have had 2 failures with it. But when I maintain it, the red dot works. The gun has always performed, and I'm most accurate with it at the expense of fractions of a second of speed. So I've really got to recontemplate, and you guys have watched me go through this many times. I've got to recontemplate performance versus capability. Hear me on this. Performance. My HK Mark 23. 12 rounds plus 1, 45 ACP. All joking aside, if you've been to my classes or any others that are reputable, you know that 9, 40, and 45 all do the same thing in the human body. I can perform best with my HK Mark 23 in gun class. Defensively, do I want 12 plus 1 in my Mark 23 of 45? Or do I want 20 plus 1 in the P30L? That's a real battle for me. And this is why. We tend to, sorry, this is going deep down the rabbit hole. We tend to conflate our performance in gun class with how we are going to do defensively. That's unfortunate. When we spend 2 days working on something and it all culminates in one big event, and then we hang that up and measure ourselves by it, we are fooling ourselves. We are absolutely fooling ourselves. Your ability to perform at one moment in time on a very safe range with static targets is an indicator of skill. It's an indicator of time spent working on this. It's an indicator of a lot of things that may or may absolutely not translate defensively. So, I don't carry one of these to impress my shooting friends. I don't carry one of these to try to look good in front of anybody else. I don't carry one of these for any type of recognition of my efforts. I carry one of these to save life on the very worst day possible. So I'm really contemplating, and would love to hear your thoughts on this. I'm really contemplating what I perform best with versus what probably has the most capability. So, what are your thoughts? I'm done rambling. Get to work. See you tomorrow.